Okay, this video is going to be about the Harmony all-in-one remote control. You're looking at it as it sits in its charging cradle. So that's plugged into a wall receptacle. This remote theoretically never needs batteries, except for a couple years down the road it might need a replacement recharging battery. But that's the cradle. This is the remote control extender for the Harmony remote. And it's got 3 plugs on the back. One's for power, and then 2 plugs are the IR emitters, which go to this wire in this black boot right here. This is an IR emitter, and this is the boot that attaches it to the receiver right there. And then on a CD player, there's one right there. And then there's another receiver that powers some other speakers. It has one right there. We are talking with a client who owns this exact remote control by Harmony. And how long have you had this remote?
About 1.5 years.
Tell me, or tell us everything. Tell us the top 3 things you like about it and the top 3 things you don't like about it.
Well, top 3 things I like about it, it's much easier. It does incorporate all elements of my sound and TV system. It does have all of the activities programmed into it that I need to run the entertainment systems within the house. For example, the major activity is to watch the TV inside the house and listen to the TV inside the house, as well as I can have the sound out on the deck so that people that are outside can enjoy the view while listening to whatever sports program is on. And it's as simple as really 2 key presses to select that particular activity. In addition, there's probably 5 or 6 other activities that I can select really easily, to include listening to the sound of my iTunes through the house sound system, both inside and outside, or just inside or just outside. So each of those being separate activities, I can select any of those relatively easily with this Harmony. So that's the number 1 thing, ease of activity selection. The number 2 thing that I like about it is the fact that it controls multiple volume controls to include the volume outside the house or inside or on the TV. So multiple volume controls as well as channel selectors. Channel selection is very simple with the Harmony. The third thing I like about it probably is its recharging capacity and the recharging carriage itself. It's always found, I can always find or locate the Harmony remote because it's almost always sitting on its charger. So for the last 1.5 years, I have not misplaced
That's interesting.
this remote even one time.
That's pretty cool.
That's the first remote of my life, and I'm no young person. First remote of my adult life that I have not lost frequently.
How many remotes would you say this replaces?
Well, I have 5 remotes sitting over there, and I haven't used any of them. So for me, it's replaced 5 remotes.
Now tell us the things related to this remote that frustrate you or don't seem to work well or you think need to be improved.
The terminology or the term toggling is probably the number 1 frustration. And toggling is, and you can probably explain this better, but the receiver, the sound system components in the TV are either on or off. And if not all of the systems are turned off, when you go to turn it back on, the system does not recognize whether or not the component was on or off. So it basically just toggles it and turns it to the opposite position, either on or off. It doesn't
know if something's on or off.
Right.
It just thinks it's all off or it's all on, but it doesn't actually know that it is.
So from time to time, that can create a situation where you have to do a few extra, key clicks or whatever.
Like the help button?
Yeah, you can go to the help button and let the system figure it out. or you can just walk up to the component system itself and toggle it manually.
Which kind of sort of defeats the purpose of the remote.
Which sort of defeats the purpose, and that can be frustrating when you want to have the ease of sitting in your comforter or your love seat there and just push the buttons. But really, it's manageable, especially with experience and time. When you turn everything off, you just got to make sure that all the components are off. The second thing it doesn't really frustrate me, but it concerns me, and that is that it's a relatively expensive device. And in my house, I have concrete floors, and so I get concerned that it will be dropped and smashed. It has what I think is a glass face up on the top, so I'm a little concerned about impact. The third thing, from a frustration standpoint, is working with the software of the Harmony online or on the computer. And probably that has more to do with my lack of consistent use of it, but it's not particularly intuitive, relatively complicated software programming that if you don't have an expert take you through it and then either have him around quite often to do the programming or to take an active interest in yourself and have the time to spend a fair amount of time over a long duration of time to get familiar with the programming.
This remote has there's been some time invested in programming and trying to tweak things, and there probably could be a few tweaks that could be added to it. Is that a fair statement?
Like anything else, especially in the technology world, it's constantly getting better, and it gets better quickly over time. So I have not I've not even accessed the programming of the remote in probably 6 months now. And I would imagine that if I just went online and synced it up, it would probably work better just through the automatic syncing process that it has.
Yeah. Well, every facet of the Harmony remotes has to be programmed. And you have a lot of devices. Like you said, you have five remotes, 5 or 6 remotes. So that's quite a bit of programming to put all those remotes into one. So here is probably one of the more important questions that a viewer of this video might be thinking to themselves. And the question is this: if a friend or a colleague called you up on the phone or came over to your house and said to you, I know that you have this remote and I know that you have all of this equipment, do you recommend that I purchase this remote, or would you buy this remote all over again if you knew then what you know today?
Well, the answer is yes, but I caveat that by saying I don't have any knowledge of any other type of systems that are out there, nor do I have the time or disposition to research it. So, yeah, I'm overall very happy with the Harmony remote, its capabilities, and I would certainly recommend to a friend to buy it, and then of course I would take him through the things that have frustrated me, and maybe talk a little bit about how you can mitigate those things.
Do you recall how much you spent to buy this remote and how much money you spent, or what have you, on programming?
My recollection is a $399 or $400 remote retail, and I would imagine there's 4 or 5 hours of professional programming or assistance in programming that was put in there.
How long have you had this remote?
I'm guessing,
this is November 2011.
Yeah, I think I got it around July when I bought the place.
July 2010.
Yeah, so a year and a half.
Okay. Any other comments before we wrap the video up?
Nope.
All right. Thanks for watching the video. There's a link right below if you want to go to the website for more information.